Sack Life. Beat Depression. It's day 867, and we're back with another dose of heaven and another somatics healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here now. Anyone who's tuning in later, appreciate you guys and girls out there for tuning in. As you know, it's a martial arts for mental health show, and we are doing kind of a special program right now that is way more accessible for all skill levels. We're trying to keep it super accessible in this 21-day program with Hope to Courage, the Hope to Courage movement. Check them out at Hope to Courage on social media and at www.hopetocourage.com. You'll be able to empower yourself with multiple free resources to help improve your mental health for the next 14 days, I believe is what we have left. Today is day 6 of that 21 days of gratitude movement. Shout out to HNW Tick. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you. Hey, Ma. Thanks, Ma. Love you, Ma. Thanks for tuning in. So as I was saying, it's martial arts for mental health show. We like to focus in on those mental health tools first. First and foremost, very powerful one, the tool of gratitude. The more we use it, the more powerful it can become, helping us find those silver linings in life, helping us turn our mood around. Even if you woke up in a bad mood, you can use that gratitude tool. Studies have shown even if you don't have something to be grateful for, even if you can't find the answer to that question, simply asking yourself the question, what am I grateful for today, can have a positive impact on the mind. So today, my gratitude section is going to go out to the first ones in, to Mama Dukes out there, Carol Paradox, HW Tick, thank you so much for being here, and to Marv, that's Haynes out there, appreciate you, and Shawnee Boy, thank you so much for tuning in, appreciate you all. Also want to shout out gratitude to Eurobus for giving me a place to stay, and also shout out gratitude to the Hope to Courage movement for their 21 days of gratitude sharing free mental health tools out there. So go ahead and think about what you are grateful for today, and that'll help put you in that positive mindset, like we said earlier, as we move forwards into the lesson. Second mental health tool, very important one, also very powerful one that can add up over time, is the progress tracking tool. It's been 867 days of consecutive training, consecutive goal accomplishment. For me, the Sack Man, let me know how many days it's been for you. If you keep track of that daily goal accomplishment, it will build over time into more self-confidence, self-validation, and self-esteem, which is something that not even depression can take away from us once we learn how to give ourselves proper credit. And this list tool will help you do that. Even if it's not this class, even if it's just a heavy bag training routine or some quality time with Bob training dummy, or even on the speed bag, whatever it is that works for you, that builds you up physically and mentally. If you keep track of that daily goal accomplishment and make sure that it's balanced, make sure that it is something you can accomplish, you can look forward to, it doesn't drain you, doesn't feel like work. It's got to be just the right level of challenge. And that way you can continue to grow forwards every single day. No days off, just active recovery days. So, like I said too, if you've got a number out there, feel free to share it. It helps motivate others to make progress in their life as well. Now, let's get on track with the session, checking in on the comments. Super from Haynes, appreciate you. Haynes, no problem, bro. Keep adding value to the world. Heck yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what we're here for, right? One of the best ways we can be the change we want to see in the world is by being that change, by just showing up for ourselves, practicing self-care, and sharing those tools that work for us, because that can help others find their ways forward as well. All right, so we're going to be working again from Muay Thai stance, our standard balanced Muay Thai stance. We're going to visualize that opponent, an active threat in front of us, as a form, right? And we want to assign that opponent the name of the thing we want to work on. Oh, I almost forgot. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. I've got no sock on. Boom, there we go. That should help. Okay. That being said, yeah, we want to visualize that opponent and assign it the name of the thing you want to work on. If it's depression, make it a depression dummy. If it's anxiety, make it the anxiety dummy. And when we toss our shots, we want to practice proper form, landing with the large 2 knuckles, making contact with the large 2 knuckles on the fist, right on the nose, right on the jaw, and really think about accuracy, right? And think about moving around and evading those strikes as well. Today we're going to break down the uppercut, so I can give you some proper uppercut form. Not super beneficial on the heavy bag if you have a standard heavy bag, but if you've got a teardrop bag, round bag, an aqua bag, anything like that, those are really good for uppercuts. They feel great. Also the Bob training dummy, great tool to use for uppercut practice. And you can practice all your tools always in shadow boxing, and it's a great way to get your form, get your structure in, and really prepare yourself to hit that heavy bag. Shout out to Luca. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, buddy. Tuning in from Canada. All right, so let's talk about the uppercut from our balanced Muay Thai stance. We're going to start with the lead uppercut, and we're going to roll through it just like we turn our shoulders and hips for the hook, right? Just like we turn our shoulders and hips for the hook, we're going to turn our shoulders and hips again for the uppercut. And what we want to do is we want to bring that elbow into the center line and then fire it. Boom. Fire it up. So if we're exaggerating the movement, you don't want to toss them like this, but if you were exaggerating the movement, you take that arm, drop the fist down, 90 degree at the elbow, just like we do for the hooks and the body shots. We'd move the fist over to that center line, visualize that center line right underneath the chin of that depression dummy, and we're turning the body, right? We're not just sending the arm in, we're turning the body in, bringing that elbow into the center line, and then we're rolling, boom. We're rolling, firing from the hip, bang, up that center line, connecting with the knuckles on the jaw line for that knockout power uppercut. Once we make contact, I want to shout out to those more people tuning in from Clutter to Clarity. Appreciate you, Slayer Ken and Lisa the Luminary. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in, being consistent. We're breaking down the uppercuts today. We just did the lead uppercut. Just to review from Muay Thai stance, what we want to do here is, again, it's not an arm punch. It's an entire body movement. There's a sweet science to it. We want to pivot on the ball of that lead foot, rotating the hips and shoulders and bringing that elbow in to the center line. We're going to need to drop the hand out just a little bit to achieve that 90-degree angle on the elbow, right? So if you're visualizing the head of your opponent here, you're turning that elbow into the center line, dropping the hand at the last second, locking in that 90-degree, and then we're just firing up from the hip, bang, right up that center line into that visualized target. So remember, visualize the head of that opponent, square up, keep your guard tight, keep your chin tucked. We're in Muay Thai stance. And when you're ready to launch that lead uppercut, boom, right up that center line. Elbow comes in, turn that palm facing you, bump, and drive that fist right up the center line. Once you make contact, bring the fist back to defend the head and square up those hips and shoulders back into your Muay Thai stance. From there, we're going to practice the rear uppercut now. Very similar mechanics. We're just pivoting on the rear foot this time, driving the hip forwards from the back, and again, bringing that elbow into the center line, making sure we bring it right in there so that we can penetrate between the guard of our opponent, right? If their guard's tight, if their guard's high, they've got this opening right here that's usually there. That's where we want to get the fist so that we can send it up there and land a nice clean uppercut to the nose, to the chin, and really send them seeing stars. Really exhale through that strike. Visualize knocking the lives. If you're working with that shadow boxing dummy, if you're working with that visualization, you want to knock those lives right out of depression dummy's face. Remember what you're doing every day that you fight for you. You're overcoming that debilitation, right? We're beating that depression dummy. We're knocking them out. So you want to visualize really making contact and just smashing through the face of that depression dummy. You can exhale into it, boom, out the mouth, inhaling through the nose, boom, nice powerful uppercut there. And again, let's break them down. Lead uppercut, we're going to rotate on the ball of that front foot. We're going to turn the hips and shoulders in just like we do for the jab and the hook, bringing that elbow into the center line, dropping that hand out, kind of like a kickstand, boom, locking in the elbow at 90 degrees, palm facing in, and then just drive it up that center line, popping into the face of that depression dummy. Bring it back to defend the head. And now we're going to fire the rear uppercut. We're going to pivot on the ball of the back foot, placing the front heel down, raising the rear heel, pivot on the ball of the back foot, turning those hips and shoulders in to bring that elbow in again to that center line. We want to penetrate that defense, find that opening, and fire that fist up the center line. So for the rear uppercut here, we're in our balanced stance. Let's practice just the rear uppercut once, and then we're going to get into our session. Rotate on the rear foot and drive, boom, 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 right up that center line. Visualizing that target, keeping the guard tight on the opposite hand, and back to stance. Whoosh, boom, whoosh, boom. Exhaling, turning that fist over. Again, always want to land on the large two knuckles. And we always want to clench that fist at the point of impact to avoid injuring our own fists when we're striking. Whether you're using the heavy bag in its round form or an aqua bag, or you're practicing with dummy or a sparring partner. Clench at the point of impact, and squeeze that fist so you avoid injury. Ideally, don't do it on this type of ground. Don't do it on rocky, unstable, random, jagged edged ground. You want level ground, something soft, preferably a mat, or at least a smooth floor. After you've been training for almost 3 years, then feel free to take a risk with your ankles on uneven, jagged terrain. All right, checking in on comments. Shout out to Slayer Ken for sharing his days at 475 days of progress. Heck yeah. Shout out to Quay95 for being here. And from Clutter to Clarity said, this is good. I hope so. It's free life-saving information. Doesn't get much better than that. Every day, this is how I kick depression's ass, and I maintain my peace of mind, my positive mood. I'm not positive all the time. Bad stuff will still happen. We'll still acknowledge the bad, but it doesn't stay with me. It doesn't drag me down. It doesn't pull me into a thought spiral anymore. I haven't been debilitated in 867 days, and I haven't had a single thought of suicidal ideation in 867 days. So it's working for me. It's important to find those tools that work for you as individuals, and that's why we're sharing as many as we can through this program every single day. So that being said, we got those uppercuts in. Now let's work them into our shadowboxing routine and have some fun. We're going to have some fighting spirit of the 80s coming through in what I call the stranger beat. I made it myself. Be kind if you're going to comment on it. And if you'd like to stream it for yourself, train to it. Hopefully it was made to give you that fighting spirit of the 80s, kind of motivate you to keep training. And also has kind of a Stranger Things theme going on to it. So feel free to enjoy that on Spotify. At your own discretion. Let's go. 3 rounds, 3 minutes each. Make sure you got water. Make sure you're checking in on you and not pushing too hard. We want to give ourselves a challenge, but not overwork. Avoid those signs of overreaching. Nausea, lightheadedness, dizziness, seeing spots. All those things mean dial that intensity back. Let's go. Pop into stance. Visualize your opponent. Muay Thai position here. And we're going to start with our basics, our jab and our cross. Just start tossing those out there, visualizing that opponent. Exhaling through the mouth. Work with your proper form, tucking the chin, right? Rolling the shoulders, curling the hips, staying nice and square, nice and balanced. Hush, hush, hush. And fire those shots. Hush, hush. Visualize making contact and driving those fists right into the face of that depression dummy. We've got a lot of tools now that we've been building up in just 6 days. Just in hands alone. We've got the hook, the rear hook, the jab, the cross, our level changes. All different tools you can use. And today we're just adding in the uppercut into that routine. So keep going, let's go. Work your movement if you're advanced. If you're a beginner, just stay in that balanced, centered stance, nice and solid. In your Muay Thai position, work on that march, work on that flow, and you can fire from right here. It's about giving yourself a challenge to your skill level. So meet yourself where you're at and take into consideration any circumstances you may be in. I already did about an hour and a half of high intensity exercise, so I'm gonna kind of moderate to that. If I gas out, I gas out. This elevation's still getting me. Let's work those uppercuts in to our routine, starting with the lead uppercut. Whoosh. Drive it up there, right up the center line. Turn through the hips and shoulders. Bring that elbow into the center line. Drop that fist down like a kickstand, locking the elbow in at 90, and send it up the center line. Boom. Finish that rotation. Whoosh. Right up there. We want to get under the guard and up that center line into the face of that opponent. That visualized target. Lead uppercut. Whoosh. Boom. Lead uppercut. Whoosh. Keep the guard high on the opposite side. You can sink a little bit on the knees too, just to kind of get under that guard. Whoosh. And then drive that fist straight up that center line. Work your fundamentals in there as well. Work those other tools we practice. You can make this creative and fun for yourself. The only limit is your imagination. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Let's go. Move around with it. Dial that intensity in and work that lead uppercut in. Whoosh. Right up the center line. You can start feeling how these moves flow together, flow into each other. One move feeds the next, and you can kind of build this bang, 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 this kinetic flow here. And start to work different combinations, different patterns. Keep the guard tight, chin tucked, right? Hands closed. Remember to square back up into your balance stance after each combo or strike. And work that lead uppercut. Whoosh. Lead uppercut. Whoosh. Let's go. Whoosh. Drill it in isolation to get that muscle memory in there. Whoosh. Boom. Back to stance. That's the end of round 1. Catch your breath. Drink some water. We'll bring that rear uppercut into round 2. And then we'll mix them both together with the rest of those tools that we've been giving away for free for the last 6 days. This is where we're at. I'm not going to use any knees, elbows, or kicks. Today, I'm only going to use the tools that we have shared over the last 6 days. So this is a routine that you can follow along with. If you're not here yet at this skill level, remember, it's about you showing up for you. So do what you can. If you got to stay in your balance stance here and not even move around, if you just got to stay nice and solid here, that's fine. Just practice your form right here. Practice those tools. Whoosh. Nice and close. Visualizing that opponent. Whoosh. Whoosh. But if you're advanced and you're already fluid, you've already got your flow down, then feel free. Have fun. Move around with it. Enjoy the feeling of syncing up those moves and creating your own flow as you roll through your shadow boxing routine. Remember to breathe. We got round 2 coming up. We're going to work that rear uppercut this time, all right? So let's start with the fundamentals again. Work the jab and cross. You can do them in any succession you like. Double jab, cross, single jab, cross. Start with the cross, finish with the jab. You work on advancing jab and cross if you'd like. Wherever you're at, visualize that opponent's proper form and balance. Balance is key here. And getting that form down, it is a sweet science. The form is where we start. We learn the rules, we learn the foundation, and then we get to break them as we get creative and develop our own style in martial arts with unlimited room for growth and progress. So, bomb, bomb. Remember, show up for you. Push to your level. Give yourself a challenge, and let's go. We're going to add in the rear uppercut now. Remember the form. We're going to turn through the hips. We're going to turn on the ball of the rear foot, rotating on the ball of that foot. If we're in proper stance, right, we got a little bend in the knees. The heels are staying nice and light. It's going to be easy to rotate. Turn that hip forwards, turn that shoulder forwards, bringing the elbow into the center line. Drop that fist into like a kickstand, locking that elbow in at 90 degrees, and then we're going to fire. Fire up from the hip, up that center line, keeping the guard high on the opposite side. Back to stance. Let's practice that rear uppercut. Whoosh, boom, right there. Add in the fundamentals, rear uppercut. Woof. Exhale hard through the mouth to engage that core and add more power. And start mixing in those fundamentals. Jab, jab, cross, jab, uppercuts. And keep moving around, keeping the chin tucked for guard and for balance. Guard tight by the brow line. In Muay Thai, we want the shoulders high. We want to kind of look through binoculars here. Guard high by the brow line. Not boxing, but Muay Thai. Guard high by the brow line here. And work those fundamentals. Visualize that opponent. And work with those tools that we've learned over the last couple days. Building your creative flow here. Let's go. Exhale. Toss some hooks in there. Start working that forwards and backwards. Visualize that opponent. And drive those fists in. Giving yourself a challenge. Remember, show up for you. You deserve what you give, so give it 100%. This is your self-care. This is us using that high-intensity stress to our advantage. We're taking depression's tools. We're using it against it. Let's go. Uppercuts. Rear uppercut. Rear uppercut. Double rear uppercuts. Back to stance. Keep the guard high. Up that center line. You can kind of sink into it. Sink on those knees. Turning through the hips. Makes it a little more powerful. Helps you get under the guard. And that's the end of round 2. Round 3, we'll put both uppercuts together. And we'll continue flowing through our daily shadow boxing routine. Remember, it's high intensity most days. But if you're looking for a low intensity set of tools you can use to improve mental health, mental resiliency, and physical defense, physical fitness, we share those low intensity tools on Wednesdays and Sundays. 30 seconds. We're going to pop into our final round. Make sure you're drinking tons of water. Checking in on comments. Lisa's got 567 days. Heck yeah, Lisa, you're an inspiration. Hey, No Snow. Suppress it or phase it. I'm through running away. Heck yeah, we're all through running away. We're running forwards now. We're running ahead now. If you're gonna run, run forwards. Let's go. There's hundreds of ways we can help ourselves. We just gotta find the right ones that work for us. Let's do it. Final round. Square up, visualize that opponent, and put all your tools together. Everything you've learned over the last 6 days. It's all hands. We practice hands. And now you've got those uppercuts in there. Start feeling that flow. And work those uppercuts. If you got to do it at your skill level, that's what we want to do. We want to aim for flow. Challenge yourself to your skill level. Dial that intensity in. But stay creative. Stay fun. Make sure that you're having fun as you're learning new techniques. We're rotating through, turning those shoulders. Think about all the ways that each one of these moves feeds the next move, right? The jab, we got a shoulder turn in there. We're gonna rotate through because it preloads the cross. From here, bang, preload the hook. Boom, preload the opposite hook. Now what do we got? We can use an uppercut here. Whoosh, up that center line, and then rear uppercut. Whoosh, up that center line. Stay in balance the whole time. Chin tucked will help. Keep the guard high by the brow line. Knees bent, heels slightly raised. Work that sweet science. Let's go. Put a little bounce in it. Find your flow, find your rhythm. If you're in Muay Thai march, keep that march going. You can roll the hands to keep the march as well. Find that flow. And let's go. Roll those fists over. Work with those tools. Jab and cross. Level changes. Remember those level changes we practiced the other day as well. You can make the chain as short or as long as you'd like in those combos, especially on high intensity days. Keep it going. Can be 100 jabs. Keep the jab moving. You can turn it into an advancing jab. Bang. When you 100 crosses today. Maybe you need practice on that cross. Just fire that cross, drill it in repetition, and focus on improving each time. Right? What can I improve after that strike? Maybe I wasn't fully balanced. Tune into you. This way, you can empower yourself to grow every day. This program is not about enabling you to rely on a program. It's about empowering you to fight forward without anybody else, with nothing but just you. It's what you can do for you every single day. In the face of anything that's trying to stop you. Let's go. Work for you at your skill level. Work those uppercuts. Once you get good with that proper form, nice tight uppercut, you can modify it and send it long. Different angles. Woo, that's the end. That was it. That was 3 minutes of high intensity exercise mixed with tons of free mental health tools to empower you to continue to fight forwards and overcome anything that is trying to stop you or tell you that you can't. Because you can. I'm here to tell you that you can. Everybody can show up and move forwards at their level. We won't be able to do the same thing. We're not here to compare ourselves to one another. We're not here to compete with one another. We're here to compete with ourselves. And there's a way forward for all of us. So please do find the tools that work for you. Make sure you're giving yourself a challenge. There's no growth in the comfort zone. We can't grow if we don't give ourselves a challenge. But make sure we're doing it smart. Not working too hard where you need passive days of recovery. Not overworking where you're dead the next day and you can't physically move. That's not the goal. It's not a high intensity training program for physical fitness. It's a high intensity training program for mental health. So put that mental health as a priority. Put you as a priority. And the rest will follow. Until next time. Oh, let me check on comments. What do we got? A whole bunch of hundreds from Ken. And a big few with a bunch of fists. Appreciate it, brother. Glad you're putting in the work out there. Until next time, I'll catch you guys same tech time, same tech channel, same tech life. Zach Man out. Woo!